Thank you for staying with us. We are serving up simple tray bakes in the kitchen this morning.
Yes, Chrissy Gibson from Take the Cake joins us today. And we're starting off with a yellow butter cake. Chrissy, what's that?
That's right. Yellow cake is a cake that I grew up with. When I was a kid, I actually used to buy it as a mix, but it's so easy to make from scratch that there's just no reason to deal with the mix at all. Just bypass the mix and make it yourself.
Stop picking you now.
I see that, Simon.
I know, I can't.
It's what he does, Chrissy. You better get used to it.
It's a good one. This is my go-to cake. Whenever I just have to have something, it's so easy to make. It's so fast. Anybody can do this. It's actually a really good cake for kids to learn to bake on because it's
nice and simple.
It's so simple, and you really can't go wrong. This is one of those desserts that I cannot help but cut into while it's warm. I tell you what, a slice of this cake when it's still hot, there's just nothing better.
Right, enough temptation.
Okay.
Make it for us, please.
Let's get started.
You got it. So I always start with softened butter when I'm making yellow cake. I use a half a pound. So I just cut this pound right in half, okay? Use half of it. This is soft already.
Okay.
So you want it nice and soft. You're going to add a cup of sugar. Now, I didn't grow up with a metric system, guys, but this is about 200 grams of sugar. I tend to use American measurements, but on the website, you'll find all the metric measurements too. So about 200 grams of sugar. You beat that in with your softened butter. The sugar actually helps to fluff the butter up. So you're going to just give this a good mixing until it's all blended and nicely whipped. You can use either granulated or caster sugar.
Whatever you have.
Yeah, it doesn't matter which one. You know, one of the things I'd like to kind of impress upon people is that there's, not to get hung up on doing this the right way. I think that a lot of people can be intimidated by baking or, you know, they tell themselves they can't do it. Yes, you can do it. If you can read,
this is a
you
good
can bake.
starter off cake, I suppose, isn't it?
If you can read, you can bake.
What puts me off baking, unfortunately my wife is a very good baker, but what puts me off baking, I consider myself a reasonable cook, is that it's too precise for me. It's like science.
But it doesn't have to be.
Well, then
some
I'm
things,
in.
some
Right,
things can be. You know, when you're dealing with buttermilk and bread soda, there is a chemical reaction that happens. So sometimes you do have to be careful. This is not one of those cakes.
Good, I'm in.
Okay, so try not to get too hung up on doing it perfectly. It's going to turn out delicious. So you've got caster sugar, granulated sugar, one of the two, and your butter. Next, we're going to add the eggs. We've got 4 eggs here, okay? The eggs are going to make it really light and fluffy. I always do these first 3 ingredients this way because the eggs and the sugar really get that butter nice and fluffy. This is a dense cake, as it is. And so you want to get as much air into it as you can. And that's why I'm using this electric mixer. There are some desserts, like the one we're doing later on this morning.
Yes, the brownies.
Yes. Everyone loves those.
These bad boys
that does not require an electric mixer. This one does, because we're trying to get as much air into this batter as we can.
Okay, and the more air, the lighter it gets.
Yeah, but you'll find that this is a dense cake anyway. It's not one of those light and fluffy cakes. This is going to be a nice, you know, you can probably feel that, Simon.
I felt it already.
It's pretty dense. Now, after you've got the eggs and the butter and the sugar mixed, as you can see, this is a really simple recipe so far. 6 ingredients, you guys. You can't go wrong. This is vanilla extract. I did not say essence.
No, extract,
Remind us of the difference.
Well, I didn't grow up with essence, you guys. It seems to me that essence is sweeter. I think it's made with some type of a syrup, a sugar. With pure vanilla extract, it doesn't have any sugar. You can get this at any supermarket. If you want to buy a really nice pure vanilla extract, that's going to get a bit dear. But you can find them. This is just one that I got at the supermarket.
But go easy on the quantity of it, because it's too easy to...
It's a teaspoon. You're using 1 teaspoon. So if you don't have, you know, the imperial measuring spoon that I have, just take a regular spoon at home, fill it up halfway. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect. Don't get caught up on doing it perfectly. Just put...
Smells beautiful.
Yeah. Vanilla is magic. It's actually amazing what vanilla does for a cake. I once accidentally made a chocolate cake without the vanilla extract. And I was distracted, you know, and then I realized when I tasted it, what's up?
What's missing?
And I said, and I realized it, and I said to my kids, you know what, I forgot the vanilla extract, and they tasted it, and they said, what the heck? Because they couldn't believe that vanilla extract made that much of a difference.
It's actually more expensive than gold at the moment. Vanilla pods,
Really?
Yeah,
Crazy
it's more expensive than gold,
So we've got a teaspoon of vanilla in there. Now now I'm going to add the flour. This is, if you are used to imperial measurements, that's a cup and a half of flour, or 225 grams, let's say. Okay, if you're going to weigh it out.
Just get going, just so we don't run out of time, Chrissy.
You got it. Now, once you've added the flour, you can pretty much add the milk right away.
Okay.
And now, guys, you're done. That is
all the ingredients in.
That is the batter mix. So we're going to put this in our greased pan. Now, when you use your greased pan, you can either grease it with butter. I sometimes just use that wrapper and wipe some butter in there. Today I used a spray.
So what temperature are you going to cook it at and for how long, Chrissy?
160 Celsius.
Okay. And
say 35, 40 minutes. If you find that the center is still a bit puffy and if it's still a bit light in color, just keep it in the oven for 5 more minutes. You want it to be a nice golden brown on top. So we'll put that in. Here's one I did earlier. This is one of those cakes that is going to pull back from the edges pretty much right away as soon as you take it out of the oven. And that's okay, that's just what it does. Actually, let's take some icing sugar.
Just dress it, lovely.
Finishes it off nicely, doesn't it?
But it's so simple, you guys. Look at how simple this cake is.
Can we taste? Can we taste? Can we
Please,
taste?
Simon,
And
I
this
would
is how
not
you'd serve
deprive you.
it. Strawberries, fresh cream.
Do you know how I like to eat it? I like to eat it standing up in front of the TV with my fingers.
Out of the tray.
You can eat this however you like. You can also make it as cupcakes. You can make it as cupcakes. This one over here is slightly warm, guys. You can also make cupcakes or a layer cake. Have a try of that. This one is
So we
warm.
don't even wait for you to
Chrissy,
plate it
that's
up.
beautiful.
Oh, I'm so glad you like it.
Thank you for that. We're going to have brownies later on.
Absolutely.
Come on.
Thank you, Chrissy. Now, after the
pleasure.
break, Ireland's fittest pensioner. Stay with us. I bet she's not eating this.